The Beer and Pretzel Podcast and Trash Talk Podcast are part of the But Why Though and Podfix networks.
Check them out to hear more content from other great podcasters.
Last time on the Beer and Pretzel Podcast.
I'm going to lead you, Zipporah, all the way up to the throne. And as we get closer and closer there, I start to realize, maybe this place isn't the best place to bring my newlywed wife. But at this point, it's too late to turn you around.
What are you talking about? I'm the White Wizard. This is friendly. Everyone's welcome here.
The wizard Pharaoh, your white robes show the purity of your soul.
Oh,
and
thank you.
I'm looking at these lumps. There's cloth thrown over your throne that someone threw over earlier, and I see these lumps that where these round globes I think are lying underneath, and I bow before you.
Well, I just kind of it all seems beneath me, so I'm just kind of gonna sneer at you a little bit, and I don't really care too much. I just kind of wave a hand at you and say welcome.
Dad.
Grandfather.
This is my son's new wife.
What's her?
Zipporah.
Zipporah, that's right. Nice to meet you.
What is especially menacing in this situation, do you feel like?
For me, it's just kind of I'm kind of cut in the middle of this, and I have my mother here who's a hobbit. I have you here in this kind of creepy tower. Saruman, or the Pharaoh, is here, and I just want everyone to get along and love each other, but I'm starting to get a little anxious just because the surrounding the area, and I'm starting to notice what is underneath one of the hobbit cloaks on the throne. I'm starting to notice underneath it is not the bones of an orc. So I do not want you to see what's underneath that cloak.
Wait. I have a suggestion.
Oh, yes.
Okay, so what if it's not even the bones of an elf? What if it's like a recently deceased elf?
No.
Somebody that we'd been interrogating, because of course we're planning our expansion and whatnot. So the Uruk-hai had brought the elf, and to me it's just kind of another day in Orthanc, and I'm not even really thinking about it. But yeah, so there's not even the bones, but a fresh corpse.
Is there something around here that I can smash?
Probably. There are a lot of
Pharaoh?
fancy looking trinkets and
Anything that you care about or treasure?
I've got a nice collection of staffs. I've got the one staff that I'm always kind of seen holding, but I have a lot of staffs that I really like.
Yeah. I like my staffs too, but it's a different variety. I think that Zipporah in this moment, she's been, walking along these steps and noticing everything around her. And it's just this moment when her husband freezes and hesitates. And she looks where his eyes are straining toward. And she notices a finger popping out from beneath one of the cloths on the throne. And that's when I sense that my husband is in danger. And I'm going to use a move called Smash. When times of great need require an equal show of faith, I know what I must do. I will break whatever stands in my way. And what I'm going to do is, and then narrate how God provides. I'm going to stand up, walk toward Saruman abruptly, and tear away the cloth, or expose.
Oh no!
At least an arm, a literal arm, I guess, of the chair that he is sitting upon.
Instantly, I want to ask God a question.
Yeah.
I'm going to use my hold my tongue ability, and I would like to ask God any question. I would like to use Ben as the voice of God.
Ooh, wait. I'm going to use Becky as the voice of God.
Okay.
All I wanted was my lovely wife to get along with my grandfather and my mother, and already things have gotten so horrible, and I don't have the courage to stand up and fix this situation. What can I do to make this right and to make my family members love my wife just like I do?
Oh.
Is that all that God says?
And God, I have to remind you that when in my character sheet it says describe the voice of God, I wrote down a deafening voice.
Oh man. Oh no.
You don't have to role play that, but we know it happens in the scene.
I'm the worst one for this.
Yeah, I know.
Austin's always yelling at me to like speak louder. Like the mic is literally an inch from my face because I'm too quiet.
Mhm.
All right. Oh, your name is not Bilbo. Moses, try dinner in the dining hall away from the dead corpse.
Such a good idea, God. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I would also, if I can, I would like to shift the spotlight onto my mother. As I ask her, Mother, wouldn't it be great if we together with my wife, we all got to know each other more and we get to let's make dinner for everyone here right now?
Yes, right now is a great time for dinner. I have some roast in the oven and some breads down in my bread oven. It would be great. Out of here. Dad,
And
Dad?
I say I'm afraid what you're cooking in the oven, but I will join you for now. With one thing that's special about my move is that when I narrate how God provides, I think in this moment, Saruman may or may not strike me down, but I think the way that God provides is Becky's interruption of the scene, and at least in my eyes, makes us safe, at least in this living dungeon, literal dungeon. Like people are suffering here. But I have to choose one, and I'm going to earn the direct ire of Pharaoh.
Okay.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm really unhappy now, like that you've exposed that, and I'm gonna try and come up with some excuse about how it was, just some pest who was snooping around, and really it was out of my control. I can't control what the Urukai do there. But I'm kind of grating my teeth and staring daggers at you for noticing that.
And I think that's a great point to cut away. And the scene, if you'd like.
Yeah, I was just about to say, since we're moving to a new location, and that was a good wrap up. Good job, everyone, on our first scene together, and many more to come. But yeah, that's a good point to wrap up, and let's choose another scene. Becky or Brad this time? Do you guys want to choose? Or
We've established all of our character relationships pretty strongly. We could just go straight to Yachatz. Our ritual, Yachatz, a voice calls, starting the ritual. So things break with a snap and can never be the same. So our ritual action is close your eyes and rip something. Open them and describe what has changed. What have you brought?
Oh, I already ripped it, but I brought a character sheet from a earlier podcast episode where I played the solo rules for Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland, and my character passed away at the end. I played Tickles, the cyborg unicorn, and at the end of the episode, my character died, so I figured it would make sense, I'm never going to play this character again, to tear it up on this show, because nothing makes more sense than Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland and Ma Nishtana. So I thought it was a good crossover, and I have torn this character sheet up, and Tickles, the cyborg unicorn, is no more.
All right.
Goodbye, Tickles. Ooh.
That was a good snap, right?
That
Yeah,
was.
a really good one. It's right on camera.
So that was a white colored pencil that was sitting on my desk at the bookstore. And I have been trying to clean up the desk a little bit. It's my event time desk. And I had this box of crayon, like colored pencils that was sitting there, and I use some of them, but I write on white paper, and I was like, you know what? I don't need this. It is just literally cluttering up my space, and now it's gone, and it's broken, and it's dumb.
Yeah, how many people use white colored pencils or crayons?
Right?
Like, I don't even know what context you would use it for.
I don't
I
need
think
it.
for black paper, I think.
Well, yes, for black paper. But I write on white paper, so I didn't need it, and I was having a hard time throwing it away because I'm one of those people that like has a hard time getting rid of things even if I don't use them.
Yeah, that's true.
It's so true.
But I'm the opposite. I'm like, we haven't used this in 2 days. We should throw this away. So
What do you bring, Brad?
I brought a package of disposable D20s. They're made out of beeswax. They're actually locally made too, and I just thought it would be fun to rip into them.
So do they actually have like all the numbers on them and
They
everything?
do,
Yeah.
yeah.
Let me see.
That one's a
So
little
you're
hard
ripping
to
the package. You're not trying to destroy the dice themselves.
Well, the dice are destroyable. So they're made out of beeswax. They're meant to be disposable. And if you roll poorly in Dungeons and Dragons, let's say you get a natural one on a attack against a dragon or something, you can crush the dice. You could
What?
bite it in half if you wanted to. You could set it on fire. They're just made out of and it says they've been forged and reforged so that all of the ones are rolled out of them or burnt out of them. But they're pretty cool.
Yeah, I just rolled a 1 with this one, and I do feel like smashing it.
Smash it.
I feel like it'd be kind of cool to like not tell anyone that these are beeswax D20s, and then just smash the crap out of it once you crit fail. But it is not my turn to shine. Brad, I want to see you dispose of this.
That die that you just rolled the one on.
Yes, please. Actually,
right.
This particular one. It's a
I'm
boring
just
black
gonna-
one too.
How are you gonna do it?
I think I'm gonna bite it in half.
Yes, do it. He did it.
Wow.
It doesn't
That is
taste.
breakable.
Yeah,
How does
Here
it
it is.
taste?
it tastes like wax. It tastes like beeswax. It's not bad actually. It's just kind of bland,
Waxy.
Sorry.
waxy.
Wax.
I don't know if these are food safe beeswax they're made out of. I would assume so, but
Well,
Yeah,
too late.
They might be Brad safe.
yeah, the guy who makes these, a really nice guy. I don't know if he ever planned on people putting them in their mouth.
Yeah, he probably didn't.
So
So Ben, what are you going to be disposing of?
Yeah, so you can't see it on camera, but I brought this like old. I have a plant named Toru, who is a little fern, and he has grown wider and wider with age. And by age, I mean I think there's like a fungus in his soil, and I'm not sure what to do about it because I'm not the best. I'm not the greenest of the thumbs, and so I'm going to clip all of the brown branches, which is now 60% of the fern. I've had him for 4 years. It's 3 and a half. I don't know, since I came to Japan. And so I'm gonna do the clip. I want to, like, if you can hear it. Did you hear that?
Yep.
yes.
Okay. That's like me clipping through, and there it is. Cool. That's it's a little fern who's now hopefully going to get better now that it doesn't have to support the life of many branches, just like one or two. I don't know. Is that how you're supposed to care for plants?
I think it is.
That
yeah.
sounds right.
I'm horrible with taking care of plants, but Leah does a pretty decent job, and I see her clipping the plants sometimes, so I assume you're doing a good thing for it.
Sounds great. And then we've all done it, right? So we're gonna set up the scene. Time has moved forward. We're now in the present of the day of our story. This could be just at dinner, right? Or it could be like in the Hobbit hole, right? In this scene, an everyday object has been transformed. Through it, God calls us to action, and we play to find out how we answer the call. So this is inspired by, of course, by the burning bush moment, but it could be anything. So I guide a discussion. I suggest who's present and where we are. I'm gonna say 10 minutes has passed, and we are in the dining room of of Saruman of the Pharaoh's tower. And we are all there. And that we have this gorgeous meal. Can everyone describe like what delicious food is what delicious food is present at the meal? And why are you somewhat afraid to eat it?
Ooh. So I'm not the cook. Becky, you are, except the one thing I contributed to make it look like that, you know, that I'm helping out so I can impress my new wife is I made these little dumplings and these little round dumplings. But the more I look at them, I keep getting like flashback to when we were walking up to this grand tower. I kept seeing these really tiny skulls beside the path, and the flashbacks keep like going through, and I keep imagining these large dumplings as these little skulls I saw on the way here. So I'm having a hard time putting my own food in my own mouth.
Oh, that's fabulous. How about you, Bitya?
So I've prepared like a nice chicken roast that like I know it's good, but I know the scenery is also very intimidating. So there's like this beautiful roast, and then there's vegetables from my little vegetable patch that I've made outside, and like roast carrots and potatoes. But I keep like moving the orc guards to stand in front of things that I think are a little offensive. So I'm always like, Gary, 2 steps to the left, please. And there's these beautiful breads prepared, and there's like a really nice cake and pudding for dessert. And you know, everything looks really nice on the table, but the table itself might not be so nice.
And I don't have much of a sweet tooth, so I'm probably not eating any of your desserts. I'll eat the breads. You make really good breads. And of course, you know, orcs and Uruk-hai love eating meat, so there's a lot of meat on the table. But unfortunately, when you ask, oh, what kind of meat is this? They just say it's meat. So
Oh no!
Nobody's quite sure what they're eating.
Meat's back on the menu, boys.
Yeah, pretty much. We're probably all eating like nicer foods, but the Uruk-hai that are at the dinner are just eating like bowls of gray slop, and they're very noisy and messy about it.
A little embarrassing, maybe
Not
them.
Maybe for them, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe for you guys, I don't really seem to care too much.
Yeah, I'm a little embarrassed.
Occasionally I'll be like, Jim, mouth closed.
I like how his name is Jim.
I've named all the orcs stupid names.
I love that.
Jim the orc.
Jim, Gary.
I think that there's like a pudding near the end of the meal that is like it's like almost like a silvery milk, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like there's like a nice long ladle that I scoop the milk into my bowl. And like as I take my spoon up and I bring it to my lips, like the closer it gets to my lips, the more I hear like it smells like morning mist. And as it comes to like my face, I start to hear like a song coming from the silvery, what is called a pudding. And like when I put my lips on it, I'm taken back to a time in the Elven Kingdom when I'm riding on like this like pristine pony, with a long spiraling horn coming out of his head in my youth, and the wind is flowing around me like almost like an owl flies in the night. I'm experiencing this movement from my childhood as I'm putting it to my lips, and I'm like, this couldn't have been made here. That's my experience. And what's threatening is that this is not from this castle. This has been taken. Time has moved forward. We're now in the present day. And so how does God interrupt this situation?
Maybe if we're still in the dining hall, maybe if we have like a fire going, like in a nice fire going that one of the orcs is taking care of to provide this dark and damp hall some kind of warmth. maybe God can speak through that little bonfire that's been created by the orcs. Just an idea.
Ooh. Wait. Can the voice of God be like the crackle and hiss of the
Ooh, yes.
fire itself?
Yeah, I think that's good.
What does he say? What does this figure, this guider of the Hobbit say? Is something I wonder. Who does it call it to action?
So I feel like he would probably talk to me, but I'm
Ooh.
not sure what he would say. And as I am being spoken to, I'm not going to be the one that comes up with what he says.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
Brad.
So I'll
Brad,
put that
would
on
you
someone
like
else.
Oh no.
Brad, what
Would
does
you like
God
to
say
be
to
the
me?
voice of God.
Boy, that feels like a lot of pressure.
What?
That's fair.
You mean the little pressure of having to speak for God?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think as a player who's playing the Pharaoh, you know best what Pharaoh is up to,
Yeah.
right? And
Yep.
so that's like I kind of wanted to gear it toward you for
Okay.
what God would want the hobbits to help out with.
Sure. So I think that God is probably giving a warning that the elves in general are in danger, and that Saruman is gearing up for an invasion.
When God speaks to me, is he only speaking to me, or do other characters understand the fire?
What would you prefer, Moses?
I would prefer if only I could hear it.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Yeah. So everyone is sitting down and enjoying their meals, and I'm just spellbound by this fire that is talking to me. And while I'm listening, Ben, Becky, and Brad, the three Bs, while I'm focused on this fire and it's crackling and talking to me, in general, how is the conversation between you guys? Because my character is just completely shut up. How is conversation going? Have you guys not been talking to each other, or have some of you guys been interacting? How has that been going?
Oh,
The table
I've
conversation.
been asking how Bitch's childhood was like, and asking the Pharaoh how he raised her, and like what he sees as is the meaning of family.
The meaning of family. That's an interesting question. How would you say your upbringing was? Bitya?
It's great, Dad. I mean, he gave me a nice living and a great place to grow up. And I've got the garden in the back and all my orc friends.
You do.
Did you teach her how to garden?
I did not. One of the
Great
orcs
wizard.
did.
One of the orcs did.
Which
that's
orc,
very
Becky?
kind.
Brandon.
Of course I love my daughter, but I'm very, very busy. But I've made sure she's had wonderful hobbies to keep herself busy: gardening, baking.
Mm-hmm. I do a lot of reading. And then Moses came along.
Even as soon as you mention me, I fall out of my seat awkwardly. Even I get up and I go over to my wife and I go, did you finish, honey? Did you enjoy your meal? I think it's starting to get late. I think we better get going soon.
Oh, and I say, oh, the pudding was to die for. And I have a flask and I put it in. I pour it in, and like there's this beating heart that's like pounding, like, and it's a very small heart. It's like the size of a little fig, and it's like on a necklace and it's pounding right on my chest, and it's like it feels like it's quickening the closer I get to like the Sauron like Pharaoh. And I go to him and I pull this necklace off my neck and I offer it to you, Pharaoh, and I say, this is a gift. This is for you. Would you like it?
I'm trying to think of how Pharaoh would react
It's
to
just
that.
this like glowing like blackened heart.
I don't know. I feel that's pretty metal.
Yeah, okay, sure. I would be delighted.
Yeah.
Clap my hands together and I'm like, they're getting along. This is great.
Can we have your blessing?
Ooh. My character completely forgot about that whole thing.
For the marriage,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
I know
Yes.
it's a little late to ask for a blessing, but we still want it.
okay.
Bitches like elbowing him and being like, yes.
Yes, I give my blessing.
Yeah.
Ah, I feel so much better now. Now can we leave?
And I think it's a great time to cut. So I'm going to end this ritual, close this ritual, and pass the role of ritual guide to Austen.
Okay.
And so we can, I think, let's go to Makot Mitzrayim, recounting the plagues, because I think we're in this moment, right? I think that stuff is going to go down for Saruman, right? And I think, the voice of God has asked our little hobbit Moses to act and go against not only his grandfather, but a powerful wizard that most people respect.
Yeah, a lot of drama going into this. Family drama, the worst kind. I will be starting the ritual for recounting the plagues. They refused our cries for freedom and ignored the signs. In this scene, God brings forth a reckoning. So for the ritual guide, let's go around, and each player, let's describe one awe-inspiring or awful phenomenon that afflicts, in this case will be
Middle Earth.
Middle Earth, not Egypt. It then answers a question posed of their character. It starts with me, as no one is playing as Miriam. Describe one phenomenon, then answer aloud what treasured part of your life in the Pharaoh's court has been destroyed. So one awful phenomenon that has affected Middle Earth. I'm going to say the best part of my life is returning to my home. And while going to my grandfather's place can kind of be a little spooky, it's dark clouds there, and some people are not so nice. But when I return home, I get to see my wonderful village. The sun is always shining, and the crops are growing, and there's children always running around. Except as we are leaving the tower, I see around not only the tower, but I see going across the land, the skies have darkened and the sun goes black, and the whole land has just gone dark, with very few light sources. A world I thought was beautiful has now been corrupted by whatever just happened because of my grandfather. And what treasured part of my life in his court has been destroyed. So is that meaning in this moment or just in general?
What do you think?
For me, what treasured part of my life is, it's my wife. Even though you are, of course, you're alive and everything is going okay with us, you were able to get a blessing from my mother and grandfather, which means a lot to me. But now knowing that God reached out to me and said that the elves are in danger, whatever my grandfather's doing is affecting not only your life, but by process, my life too. So that has destroyed a little bit part of my life that your people are about to be put through some kind of harm.
Yeah, I think so. Zipporah's next. So the phenomenon that affects, I'd say it's the tower itself. I think, where there were once bones, these remains from many creatures are like collecting and like being drawn together as they're reanimated in frustration and anger. And it's like the land itself is in a tremor, kind of shakes up all the remains that are in the walls, that are in the furniture, that are in the soups, and it's like the tower is being slowly animated in a very hostile way to the pharaoh. And I think then I have to answer aloud. A member of my family is afraid too, and what do you give them so that they feel safe? Oh, I think, of course, my husband is afraid, and he's afraid for me. What do I give him to feel safe? Is I give him the flask of that silver soup that reminds you of my kingdom, and I asked him to taste it, and I say, no matter what happens to my culture, the memories will stay with me and us, and I will have my revenge, even if you won't help to take your grandfather down. I fucking will.
This bitch is metal and I love her.
Oh wow, my character's never been so much in love with you before. And it does make me feel better as you're just going on this like awesome revenge spiel, kind of like Liam Neeson and Taken. Now I'm just sitting there sipping your soup out of your little tankard. Becky, so
yeah, bitch, yeah. Describe one phenomenon, then answer loud.
So,
why do the waters seem strange to you?
So after the sky darkened, a creeping chill crept over the tower, and in just a few moments the temperature dropped so rapidly that it frightened me, and I ran out to check my garden, and everything was already dead in my garden.
No,
my whole garden,
even the potatoes.
Even the potatoes.
No, not the potatoes.
Yep, I was devastated. I cried. Brandon tried to comfort me, but there was no comfort. And I knew that something had changed. I feel like, I always knew Dad was powerful, and Dad struggled with that power. But I knew that something had changed, and something had gone from, it wasn't maybe he'll be bad. I knew in that moment that he had made a decision and he had chosen his path. And the struggle that I had to deal with now was what to do about it.
Pharaoh, please describe one phenomenon and then answer aloud. You pray at a shrine to one of your gods or a royal ancestor. What do you hear that hardens your heart?
Okay, so as I go back to the throne room and I stare into the crystal orbs and try to commune with Sauron, I start hearing cries of the Uruk-hai from the nearby woods. The trees themselves seem to be awakening and resisting. We had been clear-cutting vast forests to make our war machines and our weapons, and now the trees are groaning with angry voices and seemingly fighting back. So would this be a good time to use my ability of when I'm faced with the unexplainable?
Ooh, yes.
Okay.
Oh, Pharaoh, please use your moves.
So I'll read the ability out loud so that people know what I'm doing. But so when I'm faced with the unexplainable, I can use the ability Don't Believe Your Eyes. These miracles are nothing but parlor tricks. You will show them what real magic looks like. When something happens that you cannot explain, choose one or create your own. I can spread rumors of fakery and deceit. I can entreat one of your gods to intervene. I can command your court magician to dazzle your enemies. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to blame the elves for all of this because
Yeah,
it wasn't
blame them. They deserve it.
It wasn't until you gave me that heart as a peace offering that all of this started happening. So clearly this is your fault, not my fault.
Ah!
And I'm beseeching Sauron for power to move swiftly against the elves, but also like kind of trying to convince all the holds of Middle Earth that hey, this is their fault.
So now I think I'm gonna pass on, or do I keep going?
I close this ritual and pass the roll of ritual guide to.
Okay, I'm gonna be closing the ritual, and I'll be passing on the role of the ritual master to Becky.
Yeah, the ritual guide. Becky, go.
Okie dokie. So is this the one we're on?
Yeah, Rakta, an angel passes over us.
After all that you have seen, will your faith still hold?
Ooh, and this is really interesting, like for you especially, Vitya.
Yeah, it is. So, now we describe the final act of terrifying might that God sends forth. An angel passes over our homes. Each player write down an answer to one of the following questions, but you do it in silence. So, Pharaoh, what do you hold closest that God's angel takes? Oh, we have to find our pen.
Oh yeah, we need to find our single pen that we all share.
You know, if for the sake of this, podcast, you could just say if you like.
Yeah,
that'll
be
something
fine.
off the top of your mind.
Let's see.
Or we could take a break.
I would say that I had gotten one of the rings of power, whether it was one of the elven rings, probably not the elven rings, but one of the dwarven rings of power or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of the things that I cherished most.
So Moses, what does God's angel whisper to you that makes you weep?
God's angel says to me, or whispers to me, that if this isn't resolved, not only will my wife's people be vanquished, but God's angel doesn't say if she would die or just leave me or disappear, but I will never see her again as well, and that I will lose her. It doesn't say when or how, but that is something that could happen. So it makes me weep at the thought of her people being vanquished, and then her maybe leaving with them somehow.
And I like how in this situation, like the angel, like especially in the Tolkien mythos, are the wizards.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a wizard has come to our house to share this information with you.
That's true, yeah.
Moses.
So it's Gandalf.
Yeah, so it's Gandalf. I
Gandalf.
guess Gandalf comes over.
Basically.
And he's like, yo, you better get this into gear and better fix this whole thing, or your wife's just going to leave you. That's basically what Gandalf says.
Mm-hmm. And the Pharaoh, it's like, what do you hold closest? It's like, you hold a ring more closer than your own daughter.
Oh, wow.
Zipporah, what must you do to prove that you're one of the Hebrew people? Oh, that I'm one of the hobbits now. I think what must I do to prove that I'm one of the hobbits is to ignore the situation. That my husband, it has been reluctant to act. His mother has been reluctant to act. And I feel like I can't do that. I have to take these matters into my own hands.
I do feel like that's a very Hobbit thing, is to just ignore the
ignore the problem.
large problem.
Yeah.
And then Bitya, you're last.
What must you endure for God's mercy? Do you accept the terms? Oh, so I think Bitya has to either let go of her father or try to bring him out of this path he's set himself on. And she does accept the terms.
Ooh.
Okay.
So
great.
let's see. Once everybody's done, I close this ritual and pass the role of ritual guide to Bradley.
Wait. Can I take it?
Oh, yes, to Ben.
So we're at like the time that we wanted to end a little bit far over. And so I think, especially for 3-hour mark, like we're just going to epilogue the ending.
Okay.
Because we're at this point where I think all of our characters have made a decision. And so I think it would be really cool if we just epilogue an ending and then do the last ritual.
Yeah.
That'd
be good.
If y'all okay with that.
Yeah.
So it would be the last page of that document that you have on your desk. So would you like to all go around in a circle and to give an epilogue for your character? I think that for Zipporah, I'll start. She's going to go straight up to the pharaoh and slaughter him, like he has slaughtered so many others. And I'm not sure how I do that, and the pharaoh can describe that himself if he likes to.
Okay, so I think I'm probably taken by surprise, as much as you can surprise a wizard. And I'm giving some kind of monologue about how you're a weak fool and you can't possibly understand the power that you're facing, and blah, 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 blah. And then, like, out of nowhere, I'm just struck down without even seeing it coming, probably, because I'm...
Wait, so how did this happen?
Wait. I would like to jump in about why we got to this point, because you said it's tough to surprise a wizard, and the only reason why we were able to surprise you, and I say we in that you guys never thought that I would come up to assist with this, but I decided to actually take act, and I was able to bring my wife back to your tower. I knew about a secret passage through the garden that my mother often uses, and Brandon the orc gardener. There's a secret room that goes into the gardener's shed in the tower that can go right up.
Wait. Okay, so Moses, like, what if I go in and I'm like, and I think I have this, like, mission, like in the bag, right? And I have my own plot, and that's when, like, the pharaoh actually traps me before I can kill him. Like, he has seen me coming, but that's when you come in out of the blue, my own husband.
I agree. I'm fine with that. So he traps you, and I have to take a stand of, will I help my wife or will I cower like the hobbit I am? And of course, this is my powerful grandfather. But in this moment of courage, God speaks to me, and I'm able to pull out some sort of like small knife, maybe from the kitchen table, maybe one of my mother's butchering knives, and I will go towards him to stab him in the back. But at this moment, we got to hear from the last person to see mother. You see this all happen. You see my wife get imprisoned by grandfather, by the pharaoh, and you see me take act and pull a knife from the table and go around where I can stab him in the back. But if you want, you could interrupt what I'm doing.
So this is Bitya's moment. So before all of this happened, I had been, like, when you all left and went home, I did some research on my own, and I used my handmaidens to help me spy on my own father.
And I like these handmaidens are like orcs.
They're orcs. They're orc handmaidens.
Oh, wait. Maybe they're the orcs that I assigned to have tea parties with you when you were a child.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yes.
Becky, what's their names, though? That's an important question.
Brittany and Courtney.
But I think they should still be male orcs.
But they're still boys.
They're like these beards.
Yeah. So I assigned them to help me spy on my dad, and I found out that he actually is so corrupted at this point that even I can't get through to him. And I find out the secret that, I guess it wasn't really a secret, but I find out that he holds power even above his own family. And as a mother, I choose to help my son. And when I see that his wife has been imprisoned, I sneak her bread and snacks and water and make sure she's fine. But then when I see my son moving in to kill my father, I decide in that moment I'm still taking my son's side, and I distract my dad by getting his attention and being like, Dad, don't you think we should move that thing over there? It's like super important right now, and I need you to focus all your attention right here. And it's enough to keep his attention off the fact that my son is about to stab him in the back.
Pharaoh, so what happens?
I never see
Happens
any
to
of
you.
this coming because I believe the reason I surrounded myself with hobbits is because they're such docile, predictable creatures that I never saw any of this coming. So I'm quite surprised. I think I get stabbed in the back, and the heart charm that you had given me falls and clatters on the ground, and I'm very shocked and surprised, and then I'm probably going to try and make them pay.
Ooh.
So
What do you do, Pharaoh?
I'm going to call to the orc guards and tell them to imprison them in the dungeon, probably with you.
And so are you bleeding out right now?
Probably, yeah. It seems like a very deep wound.
What if we left on that cliffhanger? The Pharaoh bleeding out as we were brought to the chambers by Bitya's friendly orcs.
Brittany, no!
Brittany, no. Yeah, I like that ending because maybe we will escape because of Brittany and what's the other one?
Courtney?
Courtney.
Courtney.
Or maybe we'll be locked up for killing Saruman, but we also don't know if you actually did die or not. So that's kind of like left on a cliffhanger. So this is like the first movie of like a trilogy, and we kind of left it on a cliffhanger to set up part 2.
Oh, that's really cool. And wow, so let's go to our last. You can wait me on that if anyone wants to add anything or make a suggestion.
No.
Okay, cool. Let's go to the last page of the document. A ritual, halal, a toast. So, as we finish the game, we take a moment to appreciate each other's contributions. We invite reflection. So, I think we should do this scene and then eat our trash food that we've brought that we didn't have time to get to the scene that's associated with. So each player toasts another player for something you especially appreciated. So I'm gonna toast. I'm gonna toast Brad, and I'm picking up my glass that has a little bit of milk in it because Brad used these characters, these little playbooks that have little tools to help people who want to have a little more grounding and more confidence in the character. They have little moves that are kind of very powered by the apocalypse inspired, but there's no dice. It's just narrative handholds, and Brad used them both, and it was super cool because they drastically changed the narrative. And I thought it was just super smart and narratively appropriate at all points. And I'm so glad that Brad was reading through the materials oh, I have a good grasp on my character and what he would do. It was really cool.
Thank you.
I do a toast to Becky for doing a good job of, as the mother, laying out the family tree, and you kind of set the groundwork of what this family is all about. And we learned not only about my past, but of course your past, and we got to learn about these orcs, and they don't seem that bad. If they're gardeners, and some of them were raising you as you were young, and because of that, we were able to learn more about this world and the tower and about grandfather himself. So you did a good job of, as the mother figure, kind of leveling this whole family tree out and our family history.
I really loved the backstory that Ben gave of the little heart, the little shriveled heart, and then how it wasn't just a background piece, it became a part of the story. And I just thought that was a really clever narrative decision that you made. So I really thought that was really cool. how you were like, this is my past. I ran from it. It was really scary and dark. And now I'm going to give it to my spooky granddad.
Austen, I think you did a really good job kind of like bringing all the stories together. Like when I would talk about something, you would take the story and run with it. And, usually you play the role of the GM in a game. So it's interesting to see you as a player, but you're still very good at like facilitating the story and making sure that things go together smoothly. And you made sure that like, as each of us played our different parts, that we it all kind of flowed together. And I think that you also did a very good job of that, Ben. You were very patient, and I really appreciate you playing your game with us, and it just has been a lot of fun.
It has indeed. A little round of applause. Good job, everyone. That was a great game.
We the next steps of the ritual is like you may share a wish if you like. It can be anything, perhaps something you would like to see more or explore in future games. So what I wish is I want it to be I want Brad and Becky, your game store, to be a total success, and like
Thank you.
you to
Thank
get
you.
all of the money and all of the cool Pokemon cards. And like I don't know, it sounds like it's getting a lot better after the panini, if you know, if you catch. But I that's what I wish.
It's kind of funny. Sales of the board game Pandemic have gone down in recent years, but it used to be one of the highest selling board games. So that's kind of, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. Yeah.
Speaking of paninis.
Speaking of paninis.
I wish for Ben that I'm not sure when you plan on coming back to the United States, if you do at all, but that's awesome. You were able to do so much in your time in Japan and able to still complete this game with your cousin who's all the way across the world. And I wish continued success with your Kickstarter of not only this game, but also any other games you make in the future. And I hope this game finds an audience, as it is a very cool game, and I hope other people take a leap to try it and play it.
Oh, that's very sweet of you, Austen. Thank you. Just like to say, like, doing this has been an act of love. Like, doing this, making this game has been a way of connecting with my family, and like that, something I didn't foresee, but it's been a way of connecting with a lot of people who care about similar things, who love games, and it's like meeting people like you and playing with folks who love games of all sorts, board games and otherwise. It's just like it just fills me with life, and I'm just so happy that I got to have this morning to play with you, Becky.
So
and Brad.
Something that I thought was really cool was that, like, as Austen had said earlier, we're not Jewish, and we don't know much about Jewish culture or tradition. And so I think it was really cool to be able to share this with you and to, see outside of a culture, or like get an inner look at a culture that we're not familiar with. And I really hope we get more experiences like that in the future. I think this has been really cool and really interesting. And as someone who's always been interested in history and culture, like it's really it's nice, and it's like it's a kind of expanding our worldview a little bit, I think. So I really appreciate that, and thank you so much for sharing with us, and I hope we get to do more of this in the future.
I was thinking something, but then I was I agree with you. But let's see, I got distracted from my thought process as I was like nodding along and agreeing with Becky. But sorry.
You could be a little wish for, like, lunch next day. You know,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
something-
Well,
it could be anything
oh yeah.
bad.
So
We're all wishing for very big things, happy things, but very big things. It
Well,
doesn't have to be that big, I guess.
So the first thing I'd like to say is, Ben, I'm glad that your Kickstarter is being successful, and I hope that the fulfillment is extremely smooth for you, because I think I can't even imagine what that process must be like. And also, Austen, I'm really happy that well, I mean, like, Ben met Leah earlier, and I don't know if you guys are engaged, so I'm looking forward to you guys getting married, and I think that'll
Thank you.
be really nice. So
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too.
but just those kind of two things.
Austin, I'm so happy that you're gonna get married and, like, you know, you're gonna go to Peru. At least in my head canon.
Oh no, I am.
And
Yeah, no, I am very excited to at some point go out and visit Peru. I'm sure it'll be very different than cold and dreary Vermont. And I'm excited to try new foods and get to talk to people I probably would never get to talk to before. And I better get on learn some Spanish, otherwise I'm gonna be in trouble. I gotta get on that.
Beautiful. I'm gonna end this ritual. Thank you so much for coming and adding your voice to the story of Passover.
Oh, good job, everyone.
Yay!
We did it.
We
This
made
is
it.
like the funkiest Passover ever.
Yeah.
We went to Middle Earth and back. It was a really there and back again kind of moment. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, thank you, Ben, for doing this. And how do you think it went overall?
Oh, it was
Listen.
just super good.
Yeah.
I loved how everyone was like, you know, what setting should we do? It should be Egypt, and I'm like, okay, and just like passing it over to y'all, and it was just such a brilliant and fun thought. I've never played in a fantasy setting, but like there was like really cool moments where like there's like references to magic right in the Exodus tale that like come out. And it's like you can really hear how Tolkien was inspired by like a lot of stuff that I was reading, not only that he was a soldier in World War One, but like not only that it was like English myths that he's working with, but he's also like just a really he's like, inspired by like magic in mystical traditions as well, and like that was like something I was like seeing come out as we played and like just riffing on his material. So that was a cool moment, and just like everyone was super into it, and I loved it.
And yeah, it was fun for us to play. And Ben, before we let you go, can you talk to us and the audience about well, you mentioned before the Kickstarter, and we'll have a link for that, but where else can people check out you and your work, and of course Ma Nishtana?
Yeah, Ma Nishtana is on itch.io, and so you can just click onto Google Ma Nishtana. That's spelled Manishtana. Why is this night different? And just pop it into Google, and it is a role-playing game. You can find me on Twitter at Kyoto_Ben, or if you just if you go outside your house right now, go to your porch and just scream really loudly, then I may be able to hear it. So please do that as well. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Ben. And thank you guys for coming on this podcast and playing with me, and of course Ben.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
had fun.
And for our audience, thank you for listening to this special episode of Ma Nishtana. And please check out his Kickstarter, or if this episode comes out, or if you listen to this episode after the Kickstarter ends, please check out Ben's Itch channel and check out the game for yourself and see if it would be a game that you'll be interested in playing. There's a ton of great, awesome content by amazing indie artists on Itch, and Ben is another person that brought another amazing creation to life with this game, and we're happy to be a part of it. So thanks to Ben for running this game for us. And
Thanks so much for having me.
yeah, and I'm so glad this was able to come together and play. Never thought that we'd be playing from Japan to all the way to Vermont, a game about Passover, but it was definitely a special event for us to have this happen. And thank you to our audience for listening. And we will hear from everyone next time on the next episode of the Beer and Pretzel Podcast.